Christmas and a jingle all the way to all of you lovely survivors out there who join us in this most festive of occasions. We are the Not Approved podcast, where we come together to debate, to discuss the minute and infinitely ridiculous details of apocalypses and dystopian futures that may never exist, but you never know. I'm joined as always by my wonderful festive compadre. I'm a tater.
Jingle all the way, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Oh, what a silent night we have ready for everyone today. And yes, the whole episode will be filled with those sorts of puns.
I'm up in the eggnog today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready to talk about this one because this is a wild one, I have to say.
Absolutely another wild one, which we must thank one of our dear survivors.
Yeah, this is actually our first one that was suggested by a survivor.
So, what was the name again?
We have Heart of Gold 222. Heart of Gold, you have a f***ed up imagination, I have to say, because this is a weird one.
No, we love this. As soon as I saw this, I was like, yes, let's button down the hatches. Let's get ready for this apocalypse, because this is a doozy of a one for us today. As we are within the Christmas cheer, and I will specify that you don't need to be celebrating Christmas to enjoy this episode. No, we welcome all faiths, all denominations, wherever you are, whenever you are. Yeah, you can be in the future for all I care. You can be in the past. So long as you are listening to us, it does not matter. I present to you Krampus goes rogue. He has had a crisis of faith. Take that for what you might. He has had a crisis of faith and has determined that there is no longer right and wrong. There is only wrong.
We should preface this a little bit with the common historical, and we'll get more into this, but the common historical significance of Krampus is if you're a really bad child during the year, Krampus will take you. He'll punish you in some way. He might take you. And so I think to do justice to the actual comment our listener actually made, Krampus had a crisis of faith with Gen Alpha, like we said, decides all children suck, and takes all of them. So he does take children. Now he's just taken all of them. He's like, screw this, I'm done.
Children. Krampus has decided that all children suck, and therefore they're all going in the sack. Every child
sack.
now.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Krampus has a sack that he puts the naughty children into.
Can't have
and
children
this is
in a
no
sack
longer
now.
this is no longer just centralized around Eastern Europe, the Germanic provinces or anything like that. No, this is now a worldwide thing because personally everyone's had enough.
I mean, I don't blame him. It's not just children. I'm gonna be honest. If he could just take some of the adults too, he'd be right in doing so. But because
I think so.
because the folklore says he only takes the children are the only ones on trial at this point. We're gonna go with it. So I do think this launches us into our first rule of survival. What is it, survivors? Know thy enemy.
Yes.
So I think in knowing thy enemy, we really need to get into the folklore behind this. So I am not
Absolutely.
as well versed in this as Rexy is. Our Normalosaurus Rex over here has a phenomenal wealth of information about the weird and random stuff, which makes her weirdly perfect for this kind of podcast. So we're going to defer to her knowledge on this one. So please enlighten us a little bit on what Krampus actually does, the folklore behind him.
Now, Krampus is generally depicted more as St. Nicholas's helper, who would go around with St. Nicholas on the night of Christmas Eve to determine whether or not children had been naughty or nice. The reason Krampus exists is the fact that St. Nicholas is a saint, and saints can't do horrible things. Therefore, a saint is unable to dole out punishment. That is why Krampus exists. He exists simply as a tool of St. Nicholas to do what St. Nicholas refuses to do. St. Nicholas refuses to get his hands dirty and brings along this little sprite with horns and a sack and potentially even a pointed stick. Love me a pointed stick.
Oh no, the pointed stick! The pointed stick cometh, runneth.
A pointed stick or a little pitchfork, depending. Sometimes he will
pitchfork
lash
makes
the
more
children.
sense.
Sometimes he will lash the children. But overall, the idea, very, very much in the vein of the red-legged scissor man from Ireland who cuts off your thumbs. That's an actual thing. Look it up.
What? Oh my god, I'm turning pink. Look at me. I'm turning red. I can't breathe. I can't.
No, the red-legged scissor man from Ireland, he cuts off your thumbs and puts
We're
you in
not
a sack
talking
and
about the
takes you to
red-legged
live
scissor.
beneath-
We're not talking about him. But he needs to be the topic of the next.
He takes you to live beneath the hawthorn tree. And so Krampus very much is in that same vein. Now, what? I'm
I
glad
need a
that's
drink.
tickled you. I'm so glad that's tickled you. I hope
I'm
it
sorry,
tickled
just had the
everyone
image
else.
of the red-legged scissor man and Krampus with a stick. It's like...
Oh God. Okay.
Okay, Krampus.
Now, I have no specific ideas or notions. Well, there's no solid thing that I've found that suggests what Krampus does with the children when he kidnaps them. I have found multiple different variations of what happens there. So I'm not going to speculate too hard. We'll be here all night. The point is that all the children are taken away, be that into a pocket dimension, be that to the frozen wastelands of the North Pole. You know, maybe he turns them into elves for Father Christmas, Santa Claus. Yeah, maybe that's where Santa gets his workforce from. Yeah, they're just forced into a life of slave labor at the North Pole.
Oh my god,
And due to-
forever children. Oh my god, it
Yep.
makes so much sense.
Yeah, due to their malnutrition,
That's
they
not as
never
much of
grow
a
into adults.
deterrent, if I'm being honest. Like, if I was a kid and I was told, hey, you're gonna get kidnapped by this weird furry guy with a stick and a bag, he's gonna take you to the North Pole where you're gonna make toys. The toys part isn't so bad, you know? the toys
part.
like, I'd love to make toys for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to play with them.
Oh,
You just
yeah,
have to
that'll
build
do it.
them for. You have to build
You
them
can't
for
stop
other
me
children.
from playing with them. As I can. I
They'll
can
come
play
at you
them.
with a whip, like a little beating stick.
Oh yeah, Krampus' stick. I forgot about that.
Yes, his pointed stick.
I'm
think
sorry, but occasionally a good thunk on the head would not be so bad. I'm just saying it right now.
This is exactly, as far as I'm concerned, this is exactly what a lot of people, including a lot of Gen Alpha, need. So there we go. I said
A
it.
good thunk
I
on the
do not
head.
apologize. A good thump on the head, a good clip round the ear, never hurt anyone.
Okay, so we kind of have an understanding of our concept here, and we have an understanding of the mythology and the folklore that leads into the concept of Krampus. So
Mhm.
just as kind of an initial launch into our survival techniques section, as just a prompt, I was just curious because Krampus is based in folklore. So I was curious what an automated system would think of Krampus in a modern sense. So to that end, I asked AI how it would fight against Krampus. The myth.
No, Tater's gone down the route of asking Skynet.
I just was curious how a digitized a digitized insensitive tool would think of something that is based entirely in emotion and myth. So I was just curious.
This is how AI is thinking of all the wonderful ways it can kill us off. It's going to create a robot Krampus.
It's gloriously violent. So I'm just gonna say, to fight back against Krampus, you can use a variety of methods, such as direct confrontation with violence, like impalement or fire.
What?
So AI's response to Krampus taking its children is impalement and fire. And I think that's valid. So that's trick number 1 is get yourselves your own stick.
Start a
He's
lynch
got a
mob is what you're saying.
Well, historically, if we look at that, that was the response to people being threatened in villages and things like that was a mob with fire and sticks and pitchforks and stuff. Like that was canonically that's the response to a threat against a village is everyone gather your tools and your fire and let's go get this bitch. So it's by nature that's technically accurate. So I think we'll make that the AI word of the day. But we do want to launch into our own kind of approach. How would we address this situation? So I think it's important to understand the impact of what is happening before
Absolutely.
we kind of assess what we would do about
we
it.
are talking about all of the children being classified
Yes.
as naughty. Like there are no exceptions. Like every child is just designated naughty. Like you cannot be doing good things at the last minute. No elf on a shelf is helping you be a good little boy or girl this year. No, every single boy and girl, shall we say, under the age of 12?
I was gonna say 15.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice roundish.
Yeah,
number.
I don't know why. I was gonna say 18, but I was like, no, I don't think that. What is technically Gen Alpha?
Now you're asking questions I don't have a tab open for. So
that was the survivor's actual quote: "Is Gen Alpha sucks." That is not our opinion. If you are Gen Alpha,
Gen Alpha, individuals born approximately between 2010 and 2024. So yeah, 15 is the cutoff point at this point.
Okay, so 15 would be the cutoff. So anyone 15 and under, apparently Krampus is just not happy and takes every single one worldwide.
Yeah. And the thing is that I personally feel that this is not a one-time thing. This would be the following year. We would have to be ready for Krampus's arrival. But we will get into that later because that's a whole other dynamic to what's going on. However, the initial issue we are presented with is that is a whole generation just gone in one night.
So the question is, do we know Krampus took them?
I mean, because there's always this thing about, if you've been a bad little boy or girl, that Father Christmas would leave you lumps of coal instead of presents. At least that's how it works over here in the UK. I don't know if you guys had the lumps of coal thing over in the States.
The States have so many different celebrations of Christmas.
Yeah.
I did personally receive coal as a joke from Santa Claus.
You got coal? Oh my god. I would have been devastated.
I did get other presents, but it was a joke. They gave me he gave me a piece of coal for Christmas because it was funny.
Yeah.
But there are different variations, but yes, the historical version that we would adhere to would be the coal being received if we were naughty.
Okay, so I personally feel, because the thing about St. Nicholas and Krampus is the fact that they have to come while everyone's sleeping. That's the whole thing. There's even a song about it. He sees you when you're sleeping. Let's not do too much of that for copyright reasons. I personally feel that this would be, you're sound asleep at night. You hear the terrified screaming of however many children are in your home all at once, because it's magic. Of course, Krampus can grab all 3 of them at one time. It doesn't matter. He's got them all in the bag at the same time. You run to the living room, which was the last place you heard the screams coming from. There is a little collective gathering of soot at the chimney and 3 lumps of coal where your 3 children would have been. I reckon Krampus will be... I reckon St. Nicholas is leaving lumps of coal in place of your children. And I personally feel that St. Nicholas is on this too. He's not exactly a willing participant, but I feel like he's there. This is no longer Krampus being St. Nicholas's little assistant. This is now St. Nicholas is now Krampus's assistant. He's in the back there going, "Oh well, actually, I think this kid got straight A's and stuff." And Krampus just turns around and says, "Shut up!"
Okay, so we've set a great scene. Krampus has taken all the children. Initially, the impact that we're going to see societally is going to be just mass chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be panic. The initial reaction is to hunt down the children, find them wherever they are. But the problem is
You
that
will never
Krampus
find
and
them.
St. Nicholas, they live in myth. They live in folklore. We're never going to find them.
Yeah.
It's not an existent plane that
They're
we
gone.
can track down to.
Yeah, they are gone. We will never see them again. Whole generation just gone overnight, and that is the end of it. There is no reclaiming. There is no bartering. This is done.
Now, I always hate to be kind of the analytical one, but my ADHD takes me down a path that I can't stop following. So I try to imagine how the aftershocks, the repercussions of this are going to impact society as a whole. So yes, we have the initial panic, the initial chaos, the initial mayhem, the initial hope that we can find the children, and then the subsequent devastation that we're never going to find them.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens after this? Societally, we're looking at severe economic impact. We
Once
have
again,
societal structures. We have entire economic and educational structures that are built on the premise of children being present. So school systems, all children are gone. What are schools going to do? All teachers no longer have a job until the next crop of children come up. And hey, surprise, surprise, the next crop of children is going to get kidnapped as well. So that next year is going to be a moment of hope, and then, oh my God, the children are gone again. So imagining just kind of the societal collapse in that regard is, A, we have entire structures that would fall apart. Schools, daycares, any type of toy industry.
The whole kids' entertainment. The whole kids' entertainment industry falls apart.
Miss Rachel has no job anymore. Like, what are we going to do? That side of things. Plus this hopelessness. We have no future. Like, we are not able to sustain our lives perpetually, which is why we replace ourselves with younger versions of us. So we won't have that anymore. So the question is, how long can this be persisted until there's just nothing left? How long is Krampus going to continue doing this is the question. And I think that's going to be what inspires revolutionary approach to stop him. That's going to be the approach that humanity has to take. So I know I jumped straight from repercussions to survival techniques, but that's kind of tied in. It's in tandem.
I find it very interesting how so many of our apocalypse scenarios generally fall apart because of lack of money.
We're too reliant on commercialization. Unfortunately, we've built our world to surround itself with the concept of digital or physical money.
It's just very funny, like, just when you start thinking, even these absurd apocalypse scenarios, just how many of them, like, the reason this brings about the apocalypse or a dystopian future is because money is now useless.
Well, and I mean, imagine the psychological impact this would have. Not to mention just the parents of these children, but even just generally, a person walking down the street sees a playground. Do you know how depressing that would be to see? If there are no children left, oh, look at that empty swing. Oh, that's so sad. You know, like, just imagine the psychological impact this would have in general is we have no future. What are we working towards?
Yeah, this would be a full, like, a depressive meltdown of the entire world. This would bring about an existential crisis on a global scale. Suddenly everyone has that feeling of helplessness and hopelessness, like, what can we do? That is going to persist for quite some time, and especially if we get into the idea that Krampus comes every year to steal the new children that are born into the world. Do you think now's a good time to move on to our survival techniques?
Yeah, I think we've fully fleshed out the world. Like, in essence, we're looking at some weird, not necessarily dystopian future, but this is kind of a weird blend between dystopian and apocalyptic for us, because it is not technically a societal change due to some sort of hierarchy or authoritarian force. It is being controlled by a mythological being in a way. So it is kind of a blend between apocalyptic and dystopian. So I think leaning into the mythology of this, I do think I'm just imagining that fighting back directly is really the only way that I could see this going forward.
I agree. I think especially once we're past like I think once it gets to the point where we've gone through 2 Christmases and this has happened consecutively. Like the first time you could be like, oh my god, even though it is a major coincidence that all the children in the world under the age of 15 disappeared, you would mark it down as like maybe this was just a one-off. Then the second year happens, and then there is absolutely no doubt that something is coming for the children. And that is when, on the third year, you absolutely batten down the hatches and you prepare for war.
Now, okay, we have a couple different options here because, yes, I always like to have multiple survival options. And I know the initial one, the one that kind of comes to mind immediately is just going to be fighting back, trying to take down Krampus. So we'll launch into that a little bit more, but I would like to propose an alternative just because I like having second options.
I like alternatives, yes.
Personally, I don't think it's realistic, but I do want to put it out there. Confusing Krampus with the concept of Benjamin Button.
Go on.
So, showing Krampus the movie Benjamin Button, explaining the concept of this, and trying to confuse Krampus and convince him that all children are actually just tiny adults.
And all the... What? And all the old people are actually children, and then we can get rid of everyone over the age of 85?
Yeah. I mean, a simple solution. There's a future for humanity right there. The younger generation will survive.
I shrug.
Do you have a retort? Huh? Like, this is brilliant.
I have a rhetoric only in regards to the fact that obviously over times things change. Attitudes change. Things like that. Whether the attitudes of a mythological creature changes over time, I'm not 100% sure. Something that is eternal, does it even operate on the same wavelength as us? Of course it doesn't. It wouldn't necessarily understand our uncertainties or our moralities. Anything really. Yeah, we can't bear to understand it, and it can't understand us, really. Just because of the conflict of mortal versus immortal.
Well, to that end, he's a mythological creature, right?
Yeah.
So he's not a tangible thing that we can fight back against. So my thought for the combat scenario, the combating Krampus's return, we're not going to be able to fight back against this intangible thing. So I think falling back to other forms of mythology, or even trying to lift St. Nicholas back up into a position of power, those are going to be our two options here, our viable options.
Okay.
Is lean on other mythology or try to lift St. Nicholas back up.
I will bring this up because this is something I just read. There's something called Krampus Karten, which was obviously the exchanging of greeting cards over the festive period. In certain European countries, some of those Christmas cards or festive cards have included the image of Krampus. And it usually, depicts him like looming menacingly over children. There are also a collection of Krampus Karten where it has some sexual overtones. He's often seen pursuing buxom beauties. If you don't know what the word buxom is, dear survivors, I suggest you look it up. It has changed, but it's interesting that it went through this little bit of a thing. So is there a way maybe that we can tempt Krampus with some buxom beauties?
I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard the song I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. I don't think that our interpretation and sexualization of any type of mythological figure is going to hold up against the actual mythological figure. Now,
it's worth
that
a
doesn't
try.
necessarily mean he won't lean into it and be like, okay, I'm cool with this.
Do you know
but
what?
It's not directly reflective.
Tater, it is worth a try, and I just want to say now, as a member of this community, I offer myself as tribute.
Oh, dear God. So your approach is to try to seduce Krampus. Is that correct?
Look, there are, as far as I'm aware, there are two ways to deal with this, which is either like warfare conflict kind of style, like guerrilla warfare, or there is reaching a deal. And like I said, this is potentially not going to work because how are we to understand the wherewithals and goings on of this kind of creature's psyche?
Well, no.
But they
I like
could.
that idea.
But they could. There is the potential for this thing to be bartered with.
Now, what do we have to barter? And now I'm imagining us leaning further into the dystopian, in which we say, okay, Krampus, we're sorry you had to work so hard. We will prejudge the children and only send you the naughty ones. So now we have this dystopian future in which society picks the worst of themselves and sends them to Krampus. And then it becomes political because it's not actually about who's a bad or good child. It's actually about, like, how can I fuck over my next human? Like, that's... Can you imagine?
You have just gone down a road I was not anticipating, because let me... Keep that thought, because I love that thought.
I know. You were going down a road where you wanted to Krampus, but I was going down a road of how can we actually barter with Krampus?
My other suggestion was because Krampus only arrives one night of the year with St. Nicholas, and as I have already stipulated, they can only come into the house seemingly when everyone is already asleep. So I reckon if everyone just preps themselves up for the night, just does a full 24 hours from Christmas Eve, from, like maybe 6 o'clock on a Christmas Eve, all the way to 6 o'clock the following Christmas Day, is that going to be enough? But in which case you would need to keep small infants and children awake for that whole 24 hours.
Well, does the entire house need to be awake, or does just one person need to be
Well,
awake?
this is it, because I don't know if just like the baby falling asleep is invitation
It's
enough.
not the Sandman. That's an entirely different myth.
Yeah.
Out there. So I think you're onto something. I think having the entire household awake could be beneficial to preventing them for that night. Now, the question is Krampus going to change the rules on us? And we have no way of knowing. Unfortunately, we have no way to hypothesize whether he would change the rules after that to combat this. But I'm going to play with the idea that no. He has his rules.
Yes.
He gets to take the naughty children on one night a year.
Yes.
So I'm going to say he has to stick with that. That's probably
Same.
a law of the universe. It's the physics by which he has to follow.
I 100% agree with that, because if St. Nicholas needs to apply by those rules, if Father Christmas can only come once a year, then so can Krampus.
So now I'm imagining a dystopia. I don't know why my brain is very drilled into this dystopian future.
All that
where
eggnog.
I keep imagining the ways that I think it is. I think I'm kind of firing in 6 different directions of nog, where it's like, hey, let's see how bad this can go.
Yeah.
So
we don't have time to go through 6 different directions, though.
Welcome to the paranoia nog.
Yeah.
Like it's just where my brain goes. So I'm gonna kind of rein it in a little bit.
Okay, rein it in.
And I kind of we're running a little low on time here, so we do have to kind of move on to our next segment. So I think we have some very viable and some very not viable ways of combating this. So let's lay them out in kind of a list here. So we have direct confrontation, attempting to fight Krampus back, which according to AI would be done with impalement and fire.
How does it know?
Best of luck with that. I don't know. AI is pulling this out of thin air.
How does
no
Skynet
idea,
know that Krampus could be defeated with fire and impalement? He's not a vampire.
I don't know. It's probably conceptualizing based off what do you have readily available on Christmas? You have a tree and fire. Like that's what you have at Christmas.
Okay, so let's just keep going.
We're going to move on because we didn't give a lot of credence to what AI had to say in the first place.
No.
So, direct confrontation is an option, though.
Yep.
I would say the second option that we came up with is bartering.
Yep.
Whether that be sexual phasure, or through bartering a complete societal shift in dystopian futuresque style.
Yeah, trying to come up with a new contract. Basically, right, this is what classifies naughty and nice now in the eyes of Krampus.
Yeah, sending the world leaders to negotiate on behalf of humanity,
Yeah.
which with the current world leaders, I question how effective that would be. But
Oh,
we're gonna move on.
100%. You know, and I'm not just talking one world leader. I'm talking multiple here. Like, I don't
Oh
trust
my god,
any of them.
there's so many that I'm like, I would not
Not a
trust this
single
entire
one.
group to go out there. Regardless,
And our third option is to batten down the hatches,
Stay awake.
awake.
Yep. So we're gonna purge style, lock ourselves in,
Oh my
and
god, it
stay
is the
awake for the
purge.
whole
Yeah.
night. It is the purge.
Yeah.
It's the purge. Is we have one night that we got to make it through.
Yeah.
So everyone stays awake for one night. Like that is it is very purge-esque. So with that being said, I think I would lean towards the staying awake option. Now, granted, this would lift up all coffee, caffeine,
Yeah.
5-hour energy suppliers. Yeah, that's inevitable.
Exactly.
But
Like,
I do
alcohol now leaves Christmas. We no longer drink alcohol because it makes you sleepy. You need to prepare yourself for the oncoming 24 hours that you need to stay awake. You are feeding the remaining children that have come into the world coffee ice cream.
But just imagine, like,
You are
this would
maintaining
inspire
that.
the entire creation of a new holiday, which is National Sleep
Yes.
Day. Where it's like, all
Wa-
right,
once
we've
we've
stayed
gotten
awake all
through-
night to keep our children alive.
Yeah.
Now you may sleep.
Now you may sleep. Yes. Boxing Day is now the you may sleep day.
So, or Boxing Day could be on an entirely new level where everyone's just like completely sleep deprived and fighting for that good deal, you know?
Yeah.
Like
the new
we
Black
could
Friday.
see South Park style battle Armageddon where everyone's sleep deprived and caffeine hopped up and trying to get a good deal like that.
So,
But I do
as we
I
have,
digress.
as we have already established that this is very, very purge-like, I would like to suggest. I personally feel that we may be able to butter our way out of this, especially if we suggest, buxom beauties coming in, because it's already established in the folklore that Krampus may be down for this sort of nonsense.
It's not folklore,
This sort of
it's Hallmark
tomfoolery.
selling it's the card companies selling sex. That's what they do.
No, this is the folklore. Krampus is down for that sort of tomfoolery. These sort of skylarkings. This is exactly what we're going for. However, if that fails, then absolutely staying awake is the way I say we combat this.
Okay, so we usually like to take different survival options. So you're taking the monster approach.
Yeah.
And then I will be taking the stay awake approach.
Yes.
Is that how it is?
That's how it is.
So-
Like I said, I shall go ahead. I shall offer myself as tribute. However, if this is not something that anyone wants on the table, more fool you is what I say to that. But I will come round to the staying up all night and just drinking copious amounts of coffee, which will be interesting because I am caffeine free. So I'm going to be so wired.
Everyone will be. That's why it'll be National Sleep Day the day after, is everyone's got to crash afterward.
Right, so we have established that this is basically the purge now. With that being
Yep.
said, who would you like to be on this purge with you? And
That's always an important aspect of the purge, is who do you trust to survive with you?
Absolutely.
So this one is going to be very heavily reliant on trust.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and launch into this.
Let us go
Now,
ahead.
I do want to bring up the concept that if you don't have children in your household, does any of this apply? Is any of this important?
No.
So we're going to be conversing and discussing this as if we have some adopted child in our home. I don't know.
As if, maybe we've gone to a relative's house who has children.
Yeah. So it's now upon our responsibility to actually stay awake. Granted, I would never go to a relative's house if this was happening.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want the responsibility of that. But we're going to be discussing as if we have children in the house, and this person is the person we have to trust to help keep that child
Yes.
with us.
We start off with an interesting gentleman here in a red baseball cap.
He's wearing a red cap.
Yeah, he is.
He's ready. He's all ready.
He's ready. He's ready already. What about?
What's another? Hang on. Hang on, give me 5
I was
seconds.
going to say, we need a name for this guy as well.
I want to come up with a name. Hang on. Christmas folklore character. Who the hell are all these people? Jack Frost. This is Jack Frost.
This is Jack Frost. Yep. This makes sense. Right. Jack Frost, I'm just going to say it out the gate, just looking a tad ordinary.
You're just saying, oh, poor you, you're a basic bitch. Like, is that what you're doing here?
No judgment.
Ordinary
no judgment.
can be good. I mean, we're not looking for what are we looking for? Trustworthy.
Yes.
Basic and ordinary can be trustworthy.
Absolutely. However, I will say, just looking ahead, one of the things he says in his bio is, let's go ski this winter. This brings about an interesting question. Do you think that this guy would be in the initial let's go find the children in the North Pole?
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have a child in the game or not. He would be a part of that.
Absolutely.
He would be on his skis cross-countrying across the land, headed towards the North Pole on skis, skis bound.
Can I just say, I don't know if this is a bit ick or not. I've been out of the dating sphere for a long time. Is it ick that he's included his Experion score in his dating?
All right, survivors, yes. His first picture is quite nice. His second picture is a screenshot of his credit score and payment history and score history. And
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's not a bad credit score, but that's like, ew.
Good for you,
Yeah.
buddy. But yes, it is an ick. Or maybe not for some women. Some women it might not be as big of an ick. For me, it is.
Yeah.
For me, that gives off a transactional approach. But we're not talking in a dating sense.
No.
We're here. Remember, we're talking about survivability with this person. We have to lean on dating apps because that's the only way we can get profiles.
But if I may bring it back to the survivability, sorry, mate, but your credit score does not tell me how good you are in a survival situation. So this is a nothing picture.
He has plenty of money to spend on caffeine, but really it doesn't tell us much. Now, below it says his interests. So we've got sports, which
fair. He's active, yeah.
He's a foodie.
Yep.
Binge watching TV shows.
That's a good thing.
He's used to being sleep deprived.
Yes.
This is good.
Yes. This is a one more
I don't know
episode.
if you've ever been on an all-night sleep binge, but oh my god, or an all-night TV binge, but yes,
no,
that is a good sign for this guy. All right, Jack,
this is I will watch one more episode and then I'm going to bed, but then one more episode is never enough. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I just need one more can of nog.
Yeah.
I just need one more cup of nog.
No alcohol.
All right, and then camping and investing, which the investing. Okay, now his picture thing is making sense, but okay.
Right. Fair.
Camping could be helpful. He's I don't really know how that would be helpful, actually. It usually is helpful. Our apocalypses usually do rely on the ability to camp, but I don't think this one is beneficial.
No, I don't think this one actually. No. Okay, our next picture is him on a quad bike of some variety. So again, outdoorsy. This guy is ticking a lot of boxes for other apocalypse scenarios, but not necessarily this one.
In this one, it does have a question whether or not. So you do have the option on dating apps to answer whether or not you want kids, and on this one, he says he's not sure yet. So he doesn't currently have kids. So in our scenario, we are making the assumption that we are staying with relatives, but this would be indicative that we could survive this apocalypse because A, we are not children, and B, he doesn't currently have kids, so if we don't have children in the household, what worry do we have?
Yeah, absolutely. Just scrolling along a few pictures, he's clearly well traveled. Doesn't necessarily go in for. I do see this, like there's one of him skiing. I see this guy as being someone who potentially goes into the frozen wastes looking the initial search parties. He may even come back. He may be one of the lucky ones that comes back.
I am agreeing that he is giving me kind of basic vibes, but I do think he would be part of the initial party. He seems like he would be outwardly interested in helping his fellow man with tracking down their children or staying awake to keep the children up. And he does seem to have experience in staying awake if he is a TV binge watcher.
He also seems to have experience with firearms and a love of hunting.
Yep. I'm sorry, but we keep pulling from my app. It's going to happen. I live in the hunting capital. Every single one we're looking at is probably going to be either way too city or way too country. So it's just the inevitability of my area. But let's kind of summarize on Jack. He has some benefits. I mean, what do we really need? We need someone that we trust.
Yep.
He hasn't given me any reason not to trust him. He seems outdoorsy. He seems interesting. He seems like he has a bunch of different interests. The credit score thing might throw me a little bit off on the trust side of things, just because investing is very combative. It's a very competitive field. So I don't know if I would trust all that much in that sense.
However,
but,
you do specify that this also makes it seem like he's looking for something transactional. So if you have something to offer him, he may have that loyalty to give back because, right, let's make this a two-way thing. Whatever that transaction is, you survivors, you agree on that between yourselves. He's not giving me. He's not giving me distrustworthy vibes. So I'm putting him on the burner.
Yeah.
Like I'll just let this guy simmer for a little bit.
Yeah,
like he's potential.
I think he's perfectly acceptable, but I want to hold off on making that decision until we've seen our second candidate.
Okay. Speaking of our second candidate, do we have a name for them?
For our second candidate, we're pulling from fictional characters in Christmas folklore. Let's use the Yule Cat.
The Yule Cat. Oh my god,
The
I know
Yule
about this.
Cat.
I know about this. That's a whole other apocalypse scenario. No, let's not.
All right, so this is the Yule Cat. So Yule Cat is ridiculously tall. Oh my god. His first picture, he's standing on a beach with a drink in his hand, with a sunset in the background. It doesn't tell me a lot.
Yeah, pretty generic. I'm swiping to the next photo and realizing, wow, he has that same smile.
He does. He has like the classic, I have a prepared smile and I can whip out the exact smile. Like a posed smile. It's not a natural smile.
Oh, wow. I'm just scrolling ahead. Every photo of him has that same smile. It's actually a little uncanny.
That's unnerving a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I like a good smile. I do, but I like it when it's in a natural sense. Now, granted, all of these pictures he's posted, like he's posing for a picture. And I don't know about you, but every time someone says cheese, I cringe internally and just have the same look on my face for every photo. So I do get that. However, for some reason, his smile unnerves me. And I think it's because he's actually showing his lower teeth in his smile.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that make you uncomfortable a little bit? It makes me a little bit off-put.
Yeah. I mean, again, prefacing, we are not here to judge people by their appearances or whatnot. This is just I'm just trying to assess the overall vibe this guy is getting, because if I'm going to be in a survival situation with this guy, I don't want to be looking over to him and seeing him smile and me getting grossed out.
Okay, so he's got his second picture. It looks like a professional like headshot type of picture, wearing his nice fancy business suit.
Yep.
He's got a picture of him on a different beach that looks very Caribbean. It's a very deep blue water. And then that last one looks like a holiday pic, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So he's got all the pictures really tell us is he's got a nice smile. He's well traveled, likes to relax, I guess. So his bio says
his bio
says exactly that. His bio says exactly that.
Yeah.
He's a fun, professional guy.
He's giving, from his pictures and now reading his bio, he hasn't specifically said here for a fun time, not a long time, but I get that distinct impression.
I would agree with that. Gives great booty rubs is just very telling. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, not that not that a great booty rub would be out of the question. Like if I'd been up all night, like sat on some cold hard surface.
You gotta
Maybe
keep yourself sidetracked somehow.
The booty rub might come as a pleasant afterthought. When when the 24-hour
Oh man,
Christmas
babe,
carnage is over.
that Krampus is on his way. Give me your butt.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what? Like,
Also a fan of Netflix as well, so I'm guessing
yep,
this is
he likes
another
Netflix.
one. Yeah.
But very cooking, working out, surfing. That's different for him. But he's on a beach a lot of pics. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He does like happy hour.
Yeah, so booze is a problem.
Why would you list happy hour as your interest?
First
instead
of all,
of, like,
yeah.
Like, I can understand, like, listing, like, bar hopping or traveling to rest. Like,
Or
that makes sense.
Food
But
and drink
happy
as a
hour
whole.
itself as an interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting. But, like, I don't know what that tells us for the sense of this apocalypse.
No, I agree with you 100%. So if I'm going to be perfectly honest, as much as I'm not 100% on Jack Frost, I think Jack Frost has got it for me.
I would agree. Yeah, he has, like, looking at them both in their basic form, what do we need? We need trustworthy and able to stay awake all night.
Yeah.
And out of the two of them, only one of them has listed a skill or interest that would even remotely indicate the ability to stay awake all night dependably.
Yeah, I just
So,
feel I feel that although Jack Frost came across as a basic bitch at the start, I feel that oh god, I can't remember what did we call the second guy?
Yule Cat.
Yule Cat.
Yule Cat.
I feel like I know no more about Yule Cat than I did 5 minutes ago before I even saw his face.
All we got from Yule Cat is professional
But fun.
but fun. And I don't know about you, but that's not going to keep me awake all
it's
Christmas
not enough.
night.
That's not enough for me. I don't care how good the booty rubs are.
I know. So I think we have our survivor, ladies and gentlemen. We have Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
Congratulations, Jack.
Woo!
You have been chosen to survive with us through this Christmas Eve. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
So,
Jack Frost.
I
You have
think-
made it.
I think this is our time that we can go ahead and wrap up
Yes.
our conversation
This has been
in
a long
just
one.
a quick summary. Yeah, this has been a long one, but it's had a lot of things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
So, summarizing, Krampus decided Gen Alpha
Sucks.
sucks. They suck. So he took them all. He took them all for Christmas, and he will continue taking all new children. Our solutions to survive, and these are your options, and we are experts. We
Yep.
are the experts. Our solutions to survive is you can fight back. You could barter, which is what you are taking, Rexy.
Yep. In the
You
first
can
instance,
barter whatever, whether that be a dystopian
I am bartering.
judgment or a felicitous time.
I am bartering
um,
those booty rubs.
Yep, you're bartering booty rubs. And then the other option would be to stay awake all night, which is what I am leaning towards.
Mm-hmm.
Our selection for a person to survive with, someone who can stay awake and is trustworthy and interesting enough to keep you intrigued during this Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Jack Frost for that.
Yep.
All our fellow binge TV watchers, congratulations. You're gonna do very well this Christmas.
Yeah, everyone who suffers with insomnia, congratulations. Welcome to the pack.
So I think we have a really good chance of survival. So this is an interesting one.
Yes.
Because it is not our survival that we're talking about here. Like, we will survive.
Yeah,
Like,
because we're out
our
of the age
survival
bracket.
was never in question.
Mm.
Yeah, even the following fallout of losing all children, that might incite some sort of civil war or unrest, but I'm having a hard time theorizing how that would take place. So I think we would survive. So I'm going to give ourselves a 9. Just because I want to leave that one point for the weird chaoticness that is an apocalypse. So I think for this episode, our final average should actually be humanity's survival.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where, yeah, this is one that will have more of an overall effect once we're gone.
So as far as giving humanity a survival percentage, I'm going to say a 7.
A 7?
I do think I would give it a higher number, except losing an entire generation in those first couple of years that it happens is detrimental.
Yes.
You know how we had too many children with like baby boomers?
Yeah.
Like that was like it was huge, but now we'd be losing. Not only are we going to be losing baby boomers over the next couple of decades, but we'll also have an entire gap of generation that is missing. So that's going to be kind of threatening to the population, I think. So I do worry about that sense. And that's probably an over analytical approach of it, but it's just where my brain went.
Well, no, because
So
my immediate thought was that 7 seems surprisingly high to me, because I would give humanity overall maybe a 4.
I was thinking that, but then I thought, I don't see how staying awake all night goes bad. Like, I unless Krampus changes the rules, which for our context of conversation, he's not going to. He has his set rules that he's going to follow now. So I don't see how, sure, someone's going to fall asleep inevitably on accident, and sucks to be them, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But staying awake through one night from my survival technique, I think is totally doable. Now, the viability of your decision, that might be a 4. But we picked different approaches, so I am sticking with a 7 because I think mine is very viable.
My approach is the ultimate approach, and I know that there are a community of people that would back me up. You know, we are out there in the trenches, you know, sacrificing ourselves, offering ourselves as tribute. You know?
Does the fact that you're leaning towards a 4 not indicate the viability of your choice here?
Oh, absolutely. But I'm also leaning towards a 4, even if we go for your suggestion, simply because...
Really?
Simply because until we get to the point where we're like, okay, we need to stay awake all night, you know, for a full 24 hours, you know, for the Christmas period, so that, you know, as soon as Christmas Eve is done with worldwide, then it's okay to go to sleep. But not until then, because it's Christmas Eve somewhere in the world.
I'm imagining it might take like 5 years for humanity to figure that out.
Exactly.
Like the first year after is just scared, and just imagine if you have a child and last year all children were stolen, would you not stay awake staring at that child all night?
Absolutely.
Just naturally?
Absolutely.
So I think people would start to pick it up year 1 after. Year 2 is probably trying to get widespread conversation about this. Year 3, maybe trying to enforce it. Year 4, it's a rule. And year 5, everyone's on board.
Absolutely.
That's kind of where I'm leaning.
But what I'm worried about, this is why I give it such a low score, is 1, we have an increasingly aging population that are dying daily. We also have the fact that there's now this massive gap in the generations. Like an entire generation is gone. This makes matchmaking and getting together as humans, like finding a mate who's compatible with you, someone who's going to be able to reproduce with you, a lot more difficult. This is the reason why we're losing pandas, is because there's so few pandas that they can't find each other in the wild. So
okay.
I'm not saying that it's a completely helpless situation, because we will still have technology, people will still be able to find and locate each other, but I'm just thinking in the long term of things, we are going to be at a situation at some point where the human race population declines massively.
Okay, with the panda conundrum, I'm willing to back it off to a 6.
Okay.
So I think if we average our 2 out, we're looking at a 5 survival,
right down the
lower
middle
than I thought it would be for this one.
Yeah, it's a down the middle scenario.
Unfortunately, I hate having to put neutral on a survey or scale yourself to 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. I pick a 5. Like, I hate doing that, but it really is we could survive or we couldn't survive. It's going to depend on what the population percentages look like after this happens. So I think we have ourselves a 5. We might survive.
Whoa, 50-50 chance, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't succeed this year, next year's a given.
And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up our show for today. We really appreciate you checking us out for this holiday season. We had a really fun one. Please do follow through with Heart of Gold 222. Thank you so much for posting this idea. We really do like hearing your ideas. So follow what Heart of Gold did. And post your ideas. We would love to talk about them.
Absolutely. And don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias, as well as anywhere that you can find and listen to podcasts. We are here always for you, except for the next 2 weeks, because the Not Approved podcast is taking a break during the festive period. So you'll have to wait till the new year to hear more apocalyptic scenarios.
We will be back, though. We will be back, because clearly we are surviving Christmas.
Absolutely. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. And as always, a good night, and don't let the Krampus bite.